felt really very much like an imposter when I started imprology, and sometimes it still hits me sometimes, you know? Yeah, you don't have a fucking clue what you're doing, what the fuck? But less and less. And I think an aspect of it is good, you know, not to feel too entitled. This thing of the river.
Make fun of my river. I have a sea, you know. I may not have a river, but I have a sea. I met Remy in a short practice in London, and we also did a marathon of improvisation. And I asked him to come and give us his philosophy.
I wanted to do their format called the interpretation of dreams, which borrow heavily on a tradition in improvised theatre called playback theatre.
It's an abandoned theatre that artists can do their workshops. It's a huge space and it's self-organized by the committee.
Mm-hmm. The idea was to work with local performers as well as non-performers and to see what happened.
I'm inside the assembly of this theatre, so I usually follow what's going on in the theatre and I learn about the seminary.
It's the second thing I'm doing after drama school. I just finished drama school in the summer. I was with Vicky in the previous performance and she told me about the workshop here and I said why not?
It's an experience and I don't expect really anything. I will embrace everything it has to give me.
And I hope it goes well because we have the show on Friday and Saturday.
That haven't happened yet. It's gonna be my first time.
Actually my first real time on the stage.
So the first encounter was actually with the space, and that was something because it's a gorgeous space. It was a private theatre who went bankrupt, and so it's now run by volunteers who still make things happen there. Most of them had some kind of background in the performance. Actually, quite a few of them were coming out of drama school. And for some of them it was very fresh. There's a lady called Viola Spolin who was in Chicago, who's kind of one of the big pioneer of this art form. One of her mantras is make the other one look good. That's what you do in improv. So it's not about you, it's about your partner, and the idea is to make your partner look good. Possibly even more important than that. It's a school of failure. When we improvise, we fail all the time because we improvise. And that's why everyone else is here to get our back, to be here for us. So if we fuck up, rather than pointing finger and go, we go and we assist. We've been failures. Losers. But what happened is that we're going to become really, really good at that, basically. So that, people who never seen that are going to find it hard to believe even that it's improvised. Strangely enough, sometimes it's easier to work with people who've done nothing before and who start from complete scratch. Because if you are trained, sometimes your training is going to help what we're doing, and sometimes it's going to go against it. Who's voice trained? Who know about stomach breathing, diaphragm and things? Do you want to put your hands up if you know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Ideally, when we breathe in and out, the shoulders shouldn't move, should all be there, yeah? So how do you feel physically? What are the sensations? If you feel any tensions anywhere? Ideally, you don't judge what you feel, you don't put a story on it. So regardless of who I'm working with, we always start from a point of view of relaxation and learning to pay exquisite attention to other people around us and to the space and to ourselves. I'm going to ask you to put your eyes out there, so bring your eyes out of the floor and put them in the space. Check your breath, see if are you breathing freely. So there's a fair bit of sniffing around to start with, letting people unfold, letting people reinsure themselves that they will be taken care of. So say I'm here, I'm going to make eye contact with you, and we're both going to decide that we start walking, and then we start walking. Now we're mobile. Now I need to recruit someone who's walking, someone else, yeah? So say you walking, yeah? We both look at each other and we both decide to stop. Cool, so when you're ready. Keep breathing, people, otherwise you die. So you're not even in this game, so one person is going to be left behind. Sometimes you're not going to play the game because you got the urge to do whatever you need to do. Go back and play the game. You don't start moving unless you recruit someone. You don't stop moving unless you recruit someone. The currency of improvisation training is games. So you invent new games, you learn new games, you bastardize games because you change them because you need a particular game at a particular moment. Viola Spolin said, good games are born out of necessity. You don't invent a game as an exercise in aesthetic. You invent a game because you need that particular game at this particular moment to help people realize a certain thing. You feel with your hands when your partner is making a sound, and you try to find where the biggest vibration is going to be in their back. So mirroring is that's one of the signature game of a lady called Viola Spolin. She doesn't call it mirroring, she calls it reflecting. Well, you're facing each other and you just mirror what your partner is doing. So you can set up, if you want, a leader and a follower to start with, if you have the patience, and then you swap. So whoever was leading follow and whoever was following lead, and then you open it. So there's no more leader or follower. It's all done in real time. So you want to reach this state that Spolin called follow the follower, where you're not quite sure who's leading anymore and you're not quite sure who's following anymore. You just do one or the other, sometimes even simultaneously. It's almost like a mild state of trance that you reach when you're there. And of course you don't plan any longer what you're doing, it's just happening.
and straight.
Yeah.
We didn't have many curves.
Oh.
We didn't feel confident to have curves.
Flow.
Flow, yes.
The same thing. I was. Think that I was looping. Loop. The same movements over and over again.
Because basically, when you are being non-narrative, what happens is you're even more exposed because you got nothing. So to allow yourself to be completely exposed, it's a journey. It will take us time to get there, and it's mainly to do with relaxation, with being completely relaxed, and really allow ourselves to be not necessarily very interesting at all. Working on an improvised show, if you never met the people there, is also an improvised process. It's a meeting. It's always a meeting.
Improvisation in an occupied theatre makes more a political statement than improvisation in a standard theatre.
For sure.
It's different. Yeah, so the location kind of builds up to the project.
Those people took over a space that was being discarded, and were really very serious about giving it as much use as possible, and the kind of use that would benefit as many people as possible.
Γιατί θέλουμε να κάνουμε ένα διαχωρισμό με άλλες καταλήψεις που είναι στην Ελλάδα, στην Αθήνα, γιατί είναι μια κατάληψη που ξεκίνησε με τον καλλιτεχνικό χαρακτήρα, δηλαδή το πολιτικό και το κοινωνικό εμπεριέχεται στο καλλιτεχνικό, και επίσης ότι έχει αυτή την έννοια του common space, δηλαδή αυτό είναι κάτι το οποίο έχουμε συζητήσει πολλές φορές και στην περίοδο της κίνησης Μαβίλη αλλά και αργότερα.
The first version of this game was just close your eyes and follow the sound. I'm not sure I came up with this, but I can't remember who came up with it. What I did with that is to ask people to be as quiet as possible, and that triggers a lot of things. It helps show the performers that you can actually do very little. It's an exercise in minimalism, and it helps the one with their eyes closed to really pay enormous attention. So all of a sudden, all you got to serve you is your sense of hearing. So yeah, this leads into a game where it's almost like a puppeteer. You are behind your partner is in front, and they can have their eyes closed or their eyes open, and you make sounds, and your partner translates those sounds into movement. One of the things is to start to work from within your body rather than within your head. So don't plan what you're going to do. Just let things happen. Possibly not to stay within your habits and within your range, but to explore stuff. For the person moving, it's also really exquisitely freeing, because you don't have a brain anymore. You're just a reacting machine. Yeah, one of the skills that we need to acquire to do a collective improvisation show is this thing of the focus, where the focus is. Because there's something very human in wanting to be interesting. If someone else is interesting, we kind of up our games and we want to be as interesting as them, or maybe more interesting than them. It's not only we got to be very aware of when is a good time to end, and in a way you could say the sooner the better, but also be very aware of where is the articulation of this story. Yeah, because if it's only made out of articulation, it's not really a story, it's just And so on stage we need this discipline of knowing where the focus is, and if over there is interesting, it means that we don't have to be interesting. Make them look good, make them look important, make them have potency. Yeah? Right now what we're doing is we're denying a lot of things. And as soon as something interesting happens, something interesting happens over there. It's like almost like we're locked into a fight for attention. One of the skill, the really important skill, is to have this capacity to express yourself while listening. Mainly our job as improvisers is to identify offers, to realize that this is an offer, this is a gift, I can work with that. Yeah? This is opening into a whole different world. This changes everything. Yeah? She picked up a flower on the ground, this changing everything. Because if it changes nothing, we're not telling a story, we're just piling up stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's more difficult for me that the narrator, that I don't understand the language of the narrator.
Yeah. Why do we speak in gibberish as well is because if I'm in the scene with me and all I got to go is gibberish, then I'm going to have to pay so much attention to everything else. That's the sponge bit, yeah? We need to see everything. It's an exquisite little game. The way we play it is that we pair people up and one is going to give an instruction to the other one. The instruction is going to be in gibberish, and the instruction should be something very simple.
Toca, toca, toca. Sícate la fuga. Vas, toca, toca, toca.
Madellón. Madellón.
Toca la fuga, la fuga.
La que ble, ble,
Hola, la fuga. La fuga. La fuga. Oh, la fuga. Toca, toca, toca. Oh, sacate,